All righty, are we live? Yes, we are. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come back from a DiceCon wonderful week in Vegas, and then we went on a cruise, and we've got all kinds of stuff to talk about right now.
Welcome to the Color Up Podcast. Whether you're a seasoned player or a beginner eager to step up to the table, this is your lucky podcast that's all about the thrill and strategy of the casino world. I'm your host, Jeremy. With me is Jim the Professor. Let's get rolling. Wow, Jim. I don't know, a whirlwind, 7, 10
Yes.
I don't even know how long it's been. It's been a minute, but a week, I don't know. But it's all, wow.
Yeah, we had the show at your house right after DiceCon, right? Or right before? I don't even remember now.
Yeah, it wasn't after, so it must have been right before. No,
it was after the cruise. No, it was before the cruise.
No,
it was before
DiceCon.
Day before DiceCon. So we didn't have one
last week.
So
it's been 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay,
now.
so there we go. The last 2 weeks, a lot
busy.
has happened.
Lots of stuff has happened there.
We got everyone kind of checking in, so thanks for popping in.
Hey.
Hearing us out. And so no topic tonight other than, well, I guess the last 2 weeks we'll discuss and get into. We did a lot of gaming.
Yes.
We did some cruising. We did some Vegasing. We did all the things.
Oh, check, and triple check.
Yeah, and I know you've you said this was kind of like the first time ever or in a long time or whatever. You have basically 2 weeks of vacation.
Yeah, I've never done a 2-week vacation, so that's been kind of crazy for me.
Some of it was work, though. I certainly had you working for me for a little bit, and then
it was not work if you love what you're doing. So I like that kind of stuff. So
where do we start? I guess. I mean, I guess we go back 2 weeks.
We got to go back to DiceCon, right?
Yeah. And so if you're popping in and you don't know what DiceCon is, this is essentially a Color Up Club member meetup that we do every year.
Mm-hmm.
And this year there was about 70 of us. And most of us know each other. Well, we've met each other online.
Although there was quite a few new people who came this year, too.
Yeah, I was surprised how many hands went up whenever I asked, like, who's here for the very first time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pretty large percentage, which is awesome. But they jumped right in and fit right in, and I hope that they had a good time. And, so that's essentially what DiceCon is. We get together for a couple days and play dice together where we can, because it's just, I mean, dice is great, but when you're with friends or people cheering with
70
you.
70 people, it's hard to get everybody.
Yeah, we can't accommodate everyone at once,
Mm-hmm.
but as we went around different places, you'd always bump into people and you could join the table with them. And whenever there was, essentially, every once in a while, you'd have a full table of Color Up Club members. It was a lot of fun.
Yes. A lot of energy there.
Yeah. And
a lot of energy.
Everyone's kind and cheering each other on. And
so do you want to start with the pregame, or if you want to call it the first meetup that we had at Casino Quest, kickoff event, I guess would be a better term, right? Kickoff event?
Yeah, I guess opening night, kickoff event.
Opening night, yeah.
Yeah, we go to, this year we did it at Casino Quest.
Their new place, or back
Their
to
new
us,
location.
new place, new location. What'd you think of that?
It's good because they got a lot of space. It was kind of split up in two different sides, their school and then the Casino Quest. And so some of the tables were in different areas, but that kind of actually worked out kind of good.
Yeah, I thought it for 70 people, it didn't seem cramped. Even when we got everybody on one side, it was not. And the staff there was great. Nick, big shout out to Nick, who opened and welcomed us with open arms over there. Big Daddy David was there at the start, and then he had some things to do, and I think Alex was off in Europe somewhere, I believe. So
yeah, I think so.
Good staff.
But we had dealers handling a couple tables for us for the first hour, and then after that, I ran some games, and one of them was funny. It was essentially everyone broke up into the tables, and you would roll the dice, and I called it king of the table. If you rolled a 7, you were basically off the table. I thought this game would go relatively quick, Jim.
Because 1 out of every 6 usually.
Yeah.
Right, is a
but
7,
it turned out taking quite a significant time, and I started like changing rules. All right, if anyone rolls a craps number 7, I'm like, I couldn't get people to lose. There was like one.
Well, you get that many random rollers in one spot.
Yeah, exactly. They were just crushing it. And then I'm like, all right, finally we narrowed it down to at least one table that was running. And then we ended up with a winner, which happened to be Lady Blakey. Is her Discord name. And she usually comes to all the DiceCon events. And
yeah, she's been, I think, every one.
It was good. And then we had some other games and stuff like that. And it was a good time. And that's kind of where people, especially the new people, kind of get a feel for each other, meet some new people. And then I always encourage them through the contest and stuff. Hey, go with each other. Don't go by yourself and do anything.
No.
Grab a couple people, go with them. Have
and a lot time. Of that depends on where they're staying too, right?
So, a little bit.
Some people are staying downtown. Some people are on the strip, and then where you want to play, that kind of thing. And some networking was good, and it seemed like. Just be front. The Color Up people are amazing. We just, invite people and they just come and we make friends instantly. And that's one of the best things I think about it is, when we do that and then we post stuff in Discord about where we're going, where we're heading out, that kind of thing. So, opening night was awesome. And then we went, next day we went and did some playing at various casinos all over the place. Where did you go the first day or day after?
The night after, I did stop by Palace Station. There was mainly because it's so close to Casino Quest.
Yes.
So at that point we had basically a whole table of us, another half table of us, and then like we were around the roll to win table. We were on the bubble craps machine. Like there was a lot of options, and we basically filled them all up. Day 2. Man, I don't even remember.
I had pool day in the morning, in day 2. A bunch of us. There was about 15 or 20 of us, maybe more. Over at I think we had 3 cabanas of 10 each, but we were at Golden Nugget, and we all chipped in and got cabanas up on that 3rd floor, and it's a nice pool over there.
Okay.
Yeah, that was I think that was the second day or Tuesday.
Yeah, that was day 2, and I remember. I went down to South Point, a locals casino.
Where is South Point?
So it's just south on
Makes sense.
Vegas Strip. So Mandalay Bay, and then you keep going a couple miles and you run into South Point.
All right.
And so there was a handful of guys there that were meeting up and playing there. They liked it because it was $5 table, and so I played there for a couple hours. And then I think where did we go in the afternoon? I don't remember.
It's a blur, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a blur. I can't remember.
If anybody's in the comments who knows where Jeremy was.
Yeah. I either headed downtown or I know. Let's see. We may have went back to. No, we went to Palace Station at night again, or not Palace Station. The Palms.
I remember going to the Palms. On one of the nights, right?
Yeah. What'd you think about the Palms? I think you lost money there, but
I did lose money there. I do love the $5 table. I did lose money there though, but yeah, I liked it.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, they had a $5 table. I think the next one over was what, 10 or 15. We had some people 25. Over there too. They had a 25 also on the backside, which I think they opened up the second time we went there. But I liked the Palms. It was pretty good. The dealers were pretty sharp. We did have, you get some of that $5 table drama.
The crowd, yeah.
The crowd. Not everybody is color uppy as everybody else. And, a lot of people are demanding that we check the cameras when they, I was up 111 on the, ATS or whatever they call it over there, high, low, all. And that one lady was just the most bothersome lady I've seen in a while at a craps table, and telling guys where they could and couldn't play, and that was
when she checked the cameras, by the way, and stopped the game, she was wrong. She did not have the bonus, the all small bet. And then, of course, what happened as soon as the 10-minute break, the roll resumed, Yeah,
7 out.
You guessed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by that place. They're using it well as a marketing tool. You know, they advertise $5 table 24/7, and you know, sometimes you get the good and the bad with a $5 table, but meaning that, you know, it's people who don't want to be there, bad deal. You know, kind of like a downtown Grand situation where like the dealers in the pit and everyone's miserable.
Yeah,
and then
but
the players.
I didn't get that sense. The
dealers
liked
fun.
it. The pit boss was very positive.
They seem to be experienced dealers. And,
yes,
I thought
it was very good. Yeah.
I think they're all behind that situation of bringing in players, and you know, there are a couple. You know, there are some players that only play 25 because they want to avoid some of the $5 players, and completely understandable because we experienced some of that.
Yes,
but overall, most of it, especially when most of us were Color Up members, it was a positive experience. So that was good. I know day 3 because we had the dinner at Binion's Steakhouse, not Steakhouse, Binion's. I don't know. I rented
banquet room or whatever it's called.
Yeah, banquet room. I think I'm thinking steakhouse because we looked at the steakhouse, and we might try to do the ending event there next year. But I played at various casinos downtown, kind of hitting all over the place, and you know, just trying to say hi to.
Did you get on the strip at all?
No.
No,
never once. No, not well. Sahara. We did the Sahara. At least I did. I know a few people were staying down there, but the night before, so that would have been after our podcast.
Okay.
A Sunday night, we went to the Sahara for a little bit, but other than that, I wasn't on the strip at all, which is fine by me.
Well, I was on the strip for Saturday night after DiceCon. My wife Bonnie came on into town, and she was supposed to be there at 2 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock became 3, 3 became 5, 5 became 7, and you were nice enough to drop us off over there. But yeah, I did notice on a Saturday night they had $10 table, $15. No, was it $15 and a $25 table? No, $25 tables at Mandalay Bay.
Yeah.
$10 table, believe it, $10 and a $15 table at Luxor. And $15 tables at New York, when I was walking through. I didn't get a chance to play, though.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but I was surprised.
Just quickly, I want to give the Alice B a little shout out here. It was nice to meet you and Brian on Navigator. We would be watching more Strat videos so I can hang next time and hopefully get some cruises. So there's
absolutely.
You probably remember Alice.
Oh, yeah.
We met on the cruise, and so we'll get to the cruise talk in a little bit.
Yeah, and we're going to have the monster roll again after this thing where you put out the number and all that good stuff, and people can call in.
We'll hear from for sure.
Yeah. So we'll do that, and after we babble on for a little bit. But I'm seeing all the cool people, George and Dan. And
Dan's here. He's currently he went back to back cruises.
Yeah,
he's on the
3,
Ovation right now saying hi.
Yeah, must be tough being Dan.
But yeah, he was another one of us cruising. And that was a lot of fun. So anything else we need to say about DiceCon?
It was epic. I thought it was epic. We had Crowd Pleaser just put up there. We live streamed the closing event, which was nice.
I gave Brian from Holy Roller, I said, here, you're in charge of the camera. Yeah, there's Holy Roller now. But I'm sure he did a great job because he's creative and thoughtful, but instead of just sticking the camera back, I'm like, Brian, when you get a chance,
work the room.
And I saw him busy on the camera and doing little mini interviews and having fun with it. So I'm sure it was an entertaining, or more so of an entertaining live stream since he kind of took over. So we'll
talk about some of the things for those who maybe not have caught it, talk about some of the stuff that you did there and recognition, specifically one of the little contests that you do every year.
Well, we have the longest roll competition.
Yes.
Is that what you're referring to?
That's one of the things. But yeah, go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
Well, I did a lot of giveaways. Let's see.
We played some games around the table with everybody.
Did some games and some community. What do you call
share
them?
time? Yeah, icebreakers. Yeah, we were talking. I love the folks at my table. It was really good, and we had spouses there who had never been to DiceCon before, and a couple of the people were introverts, and they didn't want to get into the game of craps, but they come with their spouse to support their spouse. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. But talk a little bit about those long rolls. So every year, Jeremy has a contest, and where we recognize.
I know what you're getting at. And this is so funny.
Hold on. We're getting there. So every year, Jeremy has a contest where he goes ahead and we recognize the longest roll, and we have basically 3 medals: gold, silver, and bronze. Correct?
Yeah, and I engrave them with the year, DiceCon, longest roll, first place, second place, or third place. Yeah, so
absolutely. So every year, and there's some rules that go with it.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have at least 2 members there.
Yep.
It's got to be a solid count, no about or
none of this guessing.
We think, and
it's probably about 100 rolls. I don't know.
Yeah. And we had some clickers that, by the way, some of the clickers worked better than other clickers. I know because I ended up with a defective clicker.
You'll have that when 50-cent.
Amazon,
I think we got like 20 of them for $10 or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, we had the clickers, and how did tell us about the gold, silver, and bronze this year?
Well, I think it was a pretty Martin Hart boring. Sorry, just sign off. They were very close this year, I think.
Okay.
No one was above 50. I don't remember the numbers. Maybe you have the numbers, or you can pull them up.
I don't have the numbers. We'll have to go back and look at the stream. But I want to say we had 2 out of the 3 were random. We had the second place was a controlled shooter.
Yep.
And Ed, I believe, was his name. And then our top gun for that one was what was it? Cole's eye candy.
Yeah,
correct?
arm candy. Yeah,
arm candy, not eye candy. Yeah. Arm candy was killing it, and then it carried on to the next day after DiceCon. Because she went on another heater.
I think the winner was 47. If I may be incorrect, maybe someone remembers and could correct me, but I believe it was 47 was the longest roll.
Okay.
And she said, she'd throw it into this corner and this corner, and had no idea. It was just throwing the dice.
Very random. Yes.
And then the next morning, there was a whole table that got to witness her throw again.
62 rolls. Yeah. I think it was 62.
Yeah, 62 is the number.
And she went on a crusher again. And, somebody just put up the...
47. Ed was 43. Third place was 36.
Yes, which is amazing. And we had people hit the ATS, me included, although... because of Jeremy, I did not capitalize on the 555 because I was at a, what do you call the table where you just stadium craps, for lack of a better word.
Stadium craps, yeah.
And it was, $1 or $5 minimum, whatever it was. And I just went 111 across the top when I rolled it instead of 555 like I usually do. Which
you and Brian both blamed this on me because you both hit the ATS multiple times.
No, he hit it multiple times. I hit it one time.
Well, not that you rolled it, but you won and got paid with a $1 bet. And you kept blaming me. Say, well, Jeremy said, but you guys told me it's not.
We always,
you always do 555, and you didn't stick with it. And then somehow you blame me.
Well, that just shows how influential you are.
I mean, I guess.
Well, no, I mean, we believe you when we hear you.
You
remember that thing, sincerity.
Won the exact same amount. I mean,
yes, proportional. It would have paid for a couple more Diet Cokes, 3 Diet Cokes, had I been 555.
That's true, or it could have went the other way, and you could have lost 5 times as much money. Cole said, by the way, she's changed her name to Golden Arm.
Arm Candy.
Yeah, which is very fitting because, she's definitely the golden arm of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Brian chiming in again that I lost him $2,000. Yeah, I lost him $2,000.
Yeah,
because he didn't follow his saying, always do 555. Anything less is not worth it. So, whatever. You can't blame me.
No, but we can suggest that you had some influence. Over our decisions.
Whatever.
Yeah.
My suggestion is play 25. So there you go. For you two.
Yeah,
you
maybe.
two specifically, start playing 25 and tell me how that works out for you.
I will do it next time if I'm on the stadium craps.
Yeah, okay.
You guys gonna look at like me like I'm crazy. But yeah, it was fun. What else going on? So, any other DiceCon thing before we transition into cruising?
No, I have some polls up. It might be ending. I'm gonna have to redo it because probably not everyone sees it because a lot of activity in the Discord DiceCon channel. So if you didn't get to vote, I may throw it up there again.
I did not get a chance to vote. I was on the cruise.
That's what I'm saying. It posts, and then because there's so much activity, it just slides up, and then people don't get a chance to see it. So I might do it again, but
like a survey about what you like, what you didn't like.
Yeah, well, it was one was specifically about. I said it would be next year. It'll be either this weekend or that. This
checking dates and stuff. Okay,
yeah, stuff like that. So,
yeah,
but a great time like always. This year was no different, and then it was a great time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little different. But I thought the people that came were just fantastic. So
yeah, I didn't see one bad apple anywhere.
No,
I didn't see one
bad
apple.
I ran across. So
yeah, that's the thing I absolutely love about the Color Up Club community is that the bad apples, if you will, or the angry players, or whoever they are, negativity. They kind of just like, hey, they move on and. We end up with a lot of
they don't
people.
fit in. They don't fit in, and so they weed themselves out, and it works out. It works out great for everyone involved.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Just feel uncomfortable around, I guess, the positive energy and the people having fun and
absolutely
not taking it too serious. I guess for some people want it to be, taken more serious.
Absolutely.
But, anyway. Then there was a couple days off. Those days flew by. I couldn't tell you.
I went hiking.
Yeah, you did.
No, we worked on some videos too.
Oh yeah, we filmed a few videos. I think one is posted. One's posting tomorrow, maybe. No, I don't know. I don't remember which ones you were involved with.
I rolled the one where it was the substandard or the what do you call it? A standard with no odds.
Oh yeah.
A couple variations. Yeah, variations.
How you typically play.
Right.
3-point Molly.
Mm-hmm.
And that video did really well. I think people like to see, you don't always have to play max odds on a 3-point Molly.
No.
And so we kind of said how you approach the game, and that's essentially how you played during DiceCon.
Yeah.
But now that we're transitioning into
cruising,
the cruise, because a small group of us lined up our cruises to go out of Los Angeles on the Navigator to Catalina Island, Ensenada. It was a short cruise, 4-night cruise.
Yeah. Only one sea day.
Yeah.
But it was pretty good. And I think you put that out for the green members. You put the dates out.
Yep. Put the dates out. There were some red members, which is fine.
Yeah. I mean, but
that is
open
kind
country.
Of a perk.
Yeah.
Because this one was more of a public one.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, when I go on cruises, it's just vacation time for me and my wife.
Right.
And so I don't put it out there except for to the green members. But this one was more of a public notice because I'd love to have anyone join me. And the reason I don't announce it on YouTube, for instance, is because if 20 people came, there's not enough room.
Yeah. It's one table.
Because there's people who have no idea would show up at a certain number of the table.
And if there's Brian's crowd comes in, they're trying to max out their hedging strategy. Holy Roller Brian and the cruising club that he has, they're doing hedging strategies. And with those, with a little bit of luck, you can play for several hours like I did with $400 one night. So, yeah, you can do some things to survive and get rated and all that kind of stuff. But
so you play the 3-point Molly, not maximum odds, kind of variation a little bit normally.
Yes. Right.
You went on the cruise and we kind of talked you into, hey, maybe you should play a little different with a goal of winning a free cruise. Can you let's lay out how that experience
talk about that a little
bit.
So for those of you who don't know, I'm 99, 95, whatever % of the time, I'm a 3-point Molly guy. If I'm playing discipline game at a $5, $10 table, I never bet anything with a house edge more than 1.51 house edge, which means I only place the 6 and the 8. If I have some odds, that even lowers down my pass line from 1.41 down to whatever. And I'm hoping the casino, by paying me more fairly, I'm able to hit some numbers and hang around the table. And sometimes I do that and I color it up. We forgot about one thing about DiceCon, but we'll talk about it in a second, about the 9-point Molly.
Yeah, that's a huge story.
Yeah, that's a huge story. So anyway, I played that 3-point Molly. And
well, hold on. Since we haven't really gotten to the cruise, let's just back up, take care of that story, because it goes more along with the 3-point Molly since we're bringing it up.
Okay.
So the 3-point Molly, you put up your pass line, your come bet, and then you add odds. And this is great on a standard table.
It is.
Yeah. On a crapless table, which is, it's been around for 20 years or so, but lately it's becoming popular. Essentially, there is no don't pass or don't come.
Right.
And every number can establish a point. Your comeback could move to the 2, 3, 11, 12. These are very difficult to hit. They pay well.
Yeah.
The house edge skyrockets when you're playing the pass line and come to over 5%. So I always tell players, hey, if you're a place bet player, 4 through 10, it's the exact same game, no problem. Play on the crapless table, have fun, and you want to play on the extreme outside numbers, the 2, 3, 11, 12. Place bet those or buy those. You should buy them. And have fun with those because they pay well, and it's certainly better than making a one-roll bet on the horn numbers. So,
right.
But if you're a 3-point Molly player, stay away from crapless craps table. 5%, over 5% house edge. Your numbers go up on numbers, and now you're chasing it, adding more odds to really bad probability numbers. Do not play this style on a crapless craps table.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, we went to a crapless craps table.
Golden Nugget. Why was the reason that you went ahead and played on a crapless craps table? Was it because it was $10 on the night we were all looking, and we had a bunch of color up people there, and I had a spot right beside my good buddy Random Roller 6'8" Allen.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I just I play a couple rolls. I tried placing the 6 and the 8, and hopefully would hit up there, and then I'd take the money I won and make that with odds.
Right.
And that kind of wet my whistle. I had some early success. And then on one of the rolls, it was his roll, I said, I'm just going to keep on keeping on. And
so you didn't stop at 3 points.
No, I did not. I did not stop at 4. I didn't stop at 5, 6, 7, 8. I actually had 9 come bets. I should have taken a picture of it. 9 come bets. I had the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The only one I did not hit was the 12, because just after I got about 5 or 6 up there, I said, well, let me just play in the field and I'll get those outside. And on the 2 times I did, I think 12.
It rolled in you had a field bet and you won with the field, but no come bet to travel.
No come bet to travel. So that was the only reason.
So you could only get a possible 10 points, and you had 9 of them. And so it's not only that you had 9, it's that they were rolling. They were coming
repeaters.
back. Repeaters.
Repeaters.
You were getting paid off and on.
Off the 2, the 3. I had multiple.
Yeah, multiple threes. I remember.
Every time everybody lost their mind on a yo, I was losing their mind on a real yo, because I was getting paid true odds on the yo, unlike everybody else. But yeah, it was fun, and that was one of the few nights that I actually colored up pretty big that night.
Playing a terrible game with the bad
terrible
strategy
house
for
edge.
that particular game.
And it was,
but
it worked out.
Thanks to his role.
Yeah.
It worked out, and it worked out well, and it was really fun and exciting to watch. And humorous.
Yes. It was fun. People thought I was a little bit nuts, but it worked out for me that night. Don't forget, guys, individual results may vary. Trying to get 9 points
but you won enough money, but the problem was when it finally was a 7 out, you had 9 numbers with odds on all those numbers.
But I didn't have maximum numbers, but I had recouped. Yeah. I was gambling at that point with house money, but
yeah, you certainly
in
were.
theory, should I've, would have been the right mood, say, hey, take all my odds down on all the 9 bets.
Maybe, but you never know what time to do that. So you were riding the wave and you hit multiple of them, and some like the 3, once you hit it, it paid so well that it
paid for the other stuff.
So that's just how
it was gambling. So that's the story of the 9-point Molly. And I was lucky because we had so many. We had you there, Brian, again, all the other folks who were there, and
we didn't get a chance to film because we were joking that, well, maybe I need to put out a strategy. This is how you play Crapless Craps with a 9-point well, 10-point Molly. Yeah, we didn't film that, but maybe I should do that video
next year.
Yeah. We'll so anyway, how that relates is heading to the cruise. You decided that you weren't going to play the standard 3-point Molly, and why weren't you going to play that way?
Because I've learned from Holy Roller Brian and previous things that you should play craps differently on a cruise, because there's no guarantee that you can win at a craps table no matter how you play, but there are ways that you can play to guarantee that you get a quote unquote free cruise by just for the taxes and port fees. So you can get a 9, 10, 17, 20 day, whatever it is, cruise based on how many points you get over at how they rate you. And the way they rate you is the total amount of money that you have bet on the board, and that goes into an hourly rate. And at the end of each session, you can put your card in the slot machine. You can see how they were rating you. And so I decided to go ahead and leave 3-point Molly land, and I was going to do I think the video that you put out, my favorite crap strategy on a cruise or whatever, and that was the one where you took your book. Where's your book? You took your book and you showed everybody what you had and all the sessions, and you won like 7 out of 8 sessions. And basically what it is, it's inside play, inside numbers, and laying the 4 and 10. What was it, like 60, 44 inside, laying the 4 and 10 for 40, correct?
Yeah, you could do any amount. And I think you started there, $40 lay, 44, or no,
I did 50. I did $50 lay. Yep.
44 inside. And then a lot of times I'd do $60 lay, 66 inside, $100 lay, 100 inside. And the reason why that matters is, yes, you could just do 44 inside and they'll rate you at 44. Let's say you just did 44 inside for every shooter. Well, you would earn essentially 44 points an hour.
Yeah.
But once you put the lay up there, which is kind of a wash,
right?
That's why it's called a hedge play. Now they go, oh, okay, now he has 85
action
on the table. So now he's rated double with less risk.
Why wouldn't you?
And, with some pressing and stuff, they go, okay, he's some tipping. All right, he's probably playing 100 and some points an hour.
Yeah.
So you go from under, 40 to over 100 points with probably less risk.
Right.
So you're playing a long time. And that's why we kind of play hedging strategies on ships, because that's how they rate you. Time, it's got to be a long period of time, and it's got to be bigger bets. If you just did the 6 and 8 for $10, they're going to rate you for $25, and you're never going to get there, right? You're only earning $25. So that's why he hedged. And the reason why he didn't do the 3-point Molly is because they do not rate you for odds.
That's right.
There's no house edge, so they're not going to. They're like, well, it's not a winning proposition for us as a casino. It's not a winning proposition for the player, by the way, either.
Yeah,
like,
tell me about it.
Since it's neither of us have advantage, we're not going to rate it as odds. So if you did his 3-point Molly, let's say he did maximum odds, he would be rated at 3 bets or $30.
Yeah.
And that's it. So now that's again the problem. If he plays for 5 hours at 3 bets or 3-point Molly, he's only getting 30 times 5. He'd earn 150 points in a night.
Yes.
And instead, you ended up earning a little under 150 an hour.
Yeah.
Right.
We calculated it. I think one night it was like, it was just less than 150 an hour, which I thought was pretty good.
It would range between 100 and 150, depending on how you play.
And so. I just saw one of the comments, and Yeah, let me pull that one up. Here was the hole. Here was the hole in the strategy.
Yes.
Right there.
Which every strategy has a hole, for sure.
Yes. So there are 3 ways you can roll a 10.
Yeah.
And apparently, out of the 36 combinations, those 3 ways on this cruise were coming out about 1 out of every 7 rolls for me, or 6 rolls, because I got sniped on the first night 11 times, and we were counting.
And it's not like you leave it with the. It's not like you leave the layup. It's up there for a very short window of time.
Specific time.
You're trying to get 2 hits, and then you pull down the lay.
Right.
But before you can get 2 hits, everyone kept rolling. Everyone was rolling 10s. 10s for everyone.
Yeah, Brian rolled some 10s. MJ rolled some 10s. Everybody has blood on their hands.
Yes.
I think I even rolled a 10 and took myself out.
Yes.
It was terrible. But yeah, it was a lot of 10s out there, and it was a totally statistical outlier for that cruise for me. The 10s got me on the first night, but I was rated
at some
pretty
point.
well.
I bailed on it and quit. I started doing don't pass to hedge.
But I figured what
the math should balance it
out, but it did not, because the second night I think it was 9 for me. I didn't play quite as long the second night, and then the third night I abandoned.
But having said that, though,
yeah, go ahead.
As many times as you got knocked off, you played with how much money?
$400 buy-in for several hours for I think 4 or 5. We some nights I would come like, I don't know, 7 o'clock I think, or 8, and I'd stay there till 12:30, 1 o'clock one night. I think we almost closed out for $400 playing 5 hours. You know, that shows you the staying power that you can have, even getting sniped. If I didn't get sniped, I would have made a ton of money.
Well, there was times that you were up, and then times that you were down, and then up and down for hours.
It's like
a
yo-yo. Yeah. So,
and then I think night 1, I think you left with like $70, $100 or something. So you lost like $300.
Right.
But that was, you kind of gave up because you hit a string of 10s. But 10 minutes earlier, you were essentially even.
Oh, yeah.
And then you just got hammered real quick, and you're like, you know what? It's just time to go.
And at the end of the night, I start doing, as you can see, as you saw, I started doing stupid things at the end. Because I figure either way, I get to go. I win when I get points, or I win because I get to go to bed.
You finally get to go to bed
and get some rest.
Because we had some late night
sessions. Late night sessions over there. Yeah. But did win a couple times, or one time, a couple times. I had an afternoon session I won. We played an afternoon session one time. I think it was on the C day, because there was only one C day. And then I had like a 54. I don't have the notes up here in front of me. But then the rest of them were mostly losing propositions for me. However, in the end, Jeremy.
Yes.
And you can go look on Brian's Facebook page, and maybe we'll get Brian to call in during the thing. But this is what you end up with, ladies and gentlemen. You get a cruise certificate. And with that, if you make a, $200 deposit, book the cruise within your next cruise within 30 days, you get an absolutely free cruise. And because I almost got 2,000 points for a 4-day cruise, is pretty doggone good with the low ball.
You earned over 2,000.
Yeah, that's what it was. You need to have 2,500, right?
2,500.
I've got 21 or something.
You were like 80 points short of hitting prime in one cruise.
In one cruise, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And a big shout out to Brian and for everybody, and you actually for your video as well too. But because I'm 81 points short, if I go on a cruise, which I am in December when I go down to Florida to see my son, I will have prime. And once you get prime, you get an extra cruise the following April. So I'm really getting 2 cruises for what? For
whatever you essentially lost
for the price of one. Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty daggone cool, I think too. So the numbers worked out really well. I was very pleased with it. Had it been a 7-day cruise, I would have got prime on the first one, but there was no advantage to me because I wasn't going to probably have any time to go cruising again until December anyway.
Yeah, so you hit the 2,000 point level, which is it's a great list. And have you looked?
Oh yeah,
I know you kind of glanced at it and had an idea of what you wanted, but
we're looking at that. There's a couple cruises leaving on the 26th out of Cape Canaveral, Orlando, as they say on Royal Caribbean, and
for your winter break from
winter break from school. So I've got 2 weeks in there, but that one right after Christmas when we go down to see our son. So, But anyway, I thought of something else we should have talked about. The contest.
Oh, yeah. It essentially started in DiceCon.
Yes. We had the reveal on the ship. That's right.
So what it was Brian and Holy Roller. Again, I know we're mentioning him a lot, but he plays a big part in playing Crafts in a Cruise. So anyway, check out his show. He was kind enough to offer. I had a ocean view.
Right.
This is just how the offers, and because of your past history and play, Jim had an interior room, no window.
Because
but that's okay. Although he had an offer,
he
hasn't been on Royal for years
for a while,
or whatever, and so I had a window because I am a regular player, but I'm not, I don't earn tons of points all the time. And then we had Brian, who's a baller on the ship, kind of. Not really, but he just knows how to game the system, and that's what you should check out.
Diamond plus level.
Yeah, so he had a balcony, and then he offered this competition for us, which the video's out? Or
yeah, it's out. Yeah, you can watch it. I watched it, yeah.
And the competition, after DiceCon?
No, it was during DiceCon.
Okay, at some point, we played at Circa.
That's right.
And he's basically developing this kind of point system for your
UBS,
bankroll.
Universal.
Yeah, the UBS. Don't be UBSing us of.
Yeah.
All these people who go, I did pretty good, or I probably broke even. I probably made about $500. Well, with the UBS scoring system, you will know exactly how you compare against other people.
And it doesn't matter your buy-in.
Yeah, the nice thing about it is it's based off percentage.
Yeah.
So, you can buy in for 300, you could buy in for 3,000. Those players are equally matched. And, you get some bonus points if you last through all 10 shooters, or some bonus points if if you're down low and you have a big comeback in a session. So, but it's all kind of based in there. And, we both rolled. I think we both ended up down a few bucks.
No, we won. We both colored up. Win? Yeah, we colored up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we weren't down. That was another session that I won on.
Okay, very good. So I think you were up. You were.
I was like 25, 35 or whatever, maybe 55 more in front of you. Brian's got the list.
Yeah. I think I maybe won like $50 to $100, and you won a little more than that. So we knew that you had won a little more than that, but based off of having been down and coming back up, maybe I could have taken the lead. So we made it through 10 shooters, so we both got bonus points for the 10 shooters.
Yeah.
Anyway. So on the cruise ship, he revealed, like when we first got on, we were going to exchange rooms of who did what.
Right.
And so Brian also had played along, and he ended up in last place. So he ended up having to take the interior room, no window.
Right.
And then it was between me and you for the balcony. And the system kicked out that you actually did win. So
yes, and it was
Brian
my birthday.
was nice enough to then switch rooms with you, and you got your balcony room for you and your wife. And I stayed pat. I just stayed in my ocean view.
You were even, Steven, and Brian got the dark cave.
Yeah, Brian got the cave, the bat cave. So.
Yeah, but I want to say a big thank you to Brian. He didn't have to do it. He didn't have, anything to gain in this bet other than glory. With as a dice player or whatever. But thank you again, Brian. I know you're probably listening, but not to kiss up too much. But yeah, that was a really nice idea that he had, and we played on a real table.
Didn't mind, because he was by himself.
No, Amber,
and he had a lot of work to do, so it was like let you guys enjoy the balcony.
And he did. Cool. It was very nice. Yep. Thank you again, Brian. And he also covered I played one time, the first time, 3-point Molly. First time I was rolling 3-point Molly, and he did my odds on the.
He threw some promo chips on.
Promo chips, and did not. I don't think any of them hit. I think I got all 3 of them up. That was what you call foreshadowing again. So, but anyway, that was another story that we had from the ship, and
so I played essentially what Jim played, my secret strategy, and as long as I could, but I was playing at a higher level.
Now, how much were you? Because you were higher than me. What were you doing?
I was doing $100 don't and 110 inside.
Okay.
And Skill and Luck mentioned something which is funny.
What do you say?
Protect your lay 4, lay 10 with a hard 4.
Yes.
And then you can also hop them. Yes, that is true. And then,
yes,
of course, if the 7 rolls, you lose even more money.
Yeah.
So it's like either or.
At least it takes away a combination in theory.
It does.
Yeah.
And then I kept track of it for 2 nights because, again, I was getting knocked off the 10s as well. And it was never the hard ways that were beating me.
Yeah.
One time it was, but it was like 8 times. It was
so 11 out of the 10 out of the 11 were soft 10s, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the hard way just would have been, losing money, an extra $10.
So you got rated at what, do you think?
Usually it was between 125 and 150 was my rating, so you would say, well, I'm 100, 110, I should be rated a little over 200. But again, like the first hit, I pull down a number, so now I'm at $75, and then 2 hits, I pull down the $100 lay. So now I really only have 3 bets at 75, and then I build back up. So between starting at 200 and then after 2 rolls, I'm down to essentially a $75 bet. $85 bet. Well, no. Yeah, $85 bet with the caps on the 6 and 8. They gave me an average of usually between 125 and 150 points, which I thought was more than fair, because the majority of the time was less than the 200. So I thought that was fair.
Yeah. So I changed the way I played the second night, the third and fourth night, because the way I was sniping the 10s, I just made a decision to go 110 inside. And I was able to stay at the table, and I actually got rated higher because I had pressed up a few times. I regressed. I would press up. And because I was tipping, I was able to go ahead and get rated higher, and I ended up getting the points that I needed. I almost had them all by the third night.
Yeah.
Because that third night, I think I got like 800 or 900 points in one night. It was a rather long session, and it was going along.
And the tipping does make a difference, because we could tell, like, the boxman that was kind of having fun with us,
yes,
and enjoying and cheering on the tips,
yes,
and then you could tell some of the box people,
they were like staring at the screen, and they were looking at everything. Yeah.
I joked one night, they're like a typist. They're like, right, they're lowering their bet. I got to enter it.
They were like a stenographer.
They're lowering their bet. Yeah,
a stenographer in a courtroom.
Exactly.
But yeah, we kind of figured it out though, and then a couple times when we lowered it on down there. But yeah, I did see one comment from our good buddy Duracell. He says, we're not saying that anything's new on that. We're just saying that's the way we're playing on it on the cruise there, Duracell. And I totally agree with you that it's been around a long time. And a lot of people do
the edge.
Yeah, you can't overcome the house edge.
We're just trying to prolong the edge by playing this.
Prolong it and get the points on the cruise. Yeah.
So I kind of ended up in a similar situation. And after 3 nights, I was at, I don't know, I was right at 2000. I think I was at like 1950. I knew essentially within a few minutes I would have my 2,000 point certificate. And the ideal was, hey, the next level is 3,000 points. So I go ahead and push up to 3,000 points. So I played on the last night. Yeah, on the last night, I played for a couple hours, and I'm like, okay, where am I at? So I kind of cashed out. I got my new rating, and I was like at 2,500 points. And I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, okay, the casino shuts down approximately 2 a.m. I've only got 3 hours. I would have to average. And in that night, I had the first 3 nights, I had winning sessions, and then the last 2 sessions, and then the last 2 sessions, I was down a couple $100. So I was looking at my watch. I'm like, okay, I've got about 3 hours of play left. I'd have to average like 200 points to get to that next level of certificate. And I'm like, I didn't think it was worth the gamble. So I really put on the brakes and slowed down and kind of stopped playing or played small ball for quite a while, because I knew, like, my average bet would have to be like 200 because I needed like 600 points. So 200 or 180 or whatever it was. It was higher than I've ever done in any of the sessions throughout the cruise. I would need more, have to play bigger, and for the next 3 hours. And I'm like, you know what? For the cruise overall, I think I'm somewhere around even. And, you know, I keep pretty good notes, as you saw. And
yeah,
I actually ended
copious
for the
notes.
craps. I ended up actually up $75 for the craps play completely. And I was like, do I gamble and risk to try to get, 600 points for a higher certificate? I'm like, no, it just wasn't worth it. So if it was on a 7-night cruise, I would have kept going. But I decided to kind of shut it down there.
What is the length that you cruise? What do you like cruising?
Well, my wife likes cruising like those 7-day or 6-night, 7-night, whatever cruises.
Okay.
But my time's flexible, right? So I can do a bunch of work and then take time off where, people like you have more rigid schedules.
More structured, rigid, yeah.
Yeah, more structured. So I understand. And so it's not for everybody. So for some people, it doesn't make sense to do a lot of gambling. But yeah, I won $75 overall on craps. I lost $100 in like 10 minutes on roulette at one session. The dice table wasn't on. I was like, I'll play some roulette. I lost $100 really quick, and I earned 5 points.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, that makes no sense, especially when I could play for 2 hours on $100 and make some decent points. So I learned a little lesson there on the roulette table. And so that was the point situation. But we both ended up with the same certificate. I haven't even looked at the list. I put my deposit down.
I started to that last night, but and I started to write down some of them. But I know where I'm going, and I know I'll get the prime one.
Yeah, the prime one
after
is
15.
Yours.
Yeah. I had 2419, 2,419 points. You need 2,500 for prime.
So 81 points. You'll get that
81.
1 hour.
I'll get that 1 hour.
Or a half hour, even playing small ball on your next cruise. And then you've locked in.
And as Brian taught us, the points reset every April, right? April 1st. So I'll have it, and I'll use that for either a really nice cruise like you suggested, or I can use it for the post-DiceCon cruise, whatever we decide to do, if we decide to do something next year. That'd be pretty cool.
There is a question here, which is a great question.
Okay.
Alice, who we met on the cruise, said it. I'm a few minutes behind because my internet cut out. But curious if rating on a cruise versus rating on land is super different, or is it standard for length of time and bet amounts? We signed up for MGM rewards recently.
So you want to address that?
Yeah. So rating is essentially the same everywhere. It is size of bet, time at table. They call it different places, but it's your theoretical loss, or they're essentially trying to calculate how big of a gambler you are. The difference, though, in all these situations is how transparent and how they come up with these numbers. Now, the reason why I started on, because Holy Rollers suggested, and it's pretty well known, is they're very transparent.
Yes.
Like you said, at any point.
Royal Caribbean especially is
Royal Caribbean. You stick in your card, you see how many points you get, and then you could look at the list and say, okay, if I earn 1,200 points, 1,500 points, 2,000, this is what I earn.
A level you'll get, right.
On other cruise ships, they go, play.
We'll let you know.
And in a couple of weeks, we'll let you know if you won anything. Maybe you did, maybe you don't. And some people have varying results. They're like, oh, Carnival or MCS or whatever, all these other cruise lines, I have these amazing offers. And some people are like, I played and I didn't get any offers. So the problem is most places, and you'll find this, I don't know of any land-based that is transparent. They are with slot machines. You kind of know where it breaks down.
Yeah, it tells you $5 or whatever it is.
$5 run through equals 1 point and that sort of thing. But on table games, there is a lot of leeway for discretion because they kind of eyeball your bets and they go, he was pressing his bets, he was regressing his bets. He sometimes played at $100 level, sometimes he played at a $20 level. So I'm going to punch in that he averaged this. A lot of discretion involved. But again, like some of these other cruise lines, what you get from the points you play is a big mystery. Like you can check usually like, hey, you earned so many points or whatever. But what does the point earn you? No one knows. It's just maybe we'll send you some offers. Maybe we'll send you some rooms this month because they're light on bookings, or maybe we'll send you some dinner coupons, or it's a huge mystery. And that's why we like Royals, because they're very transparent. You know your points and you know a goal and how to achieve it. Everyone else, you just play, cross your fingers, and hope that they treat you well. And so how are you being rated? No one knows.
Now, I will say this.
But they do. It's all based off kind of the same thing. Essentially, your play, how much they could theoretically earn from you. Like, let's say, oh, this guy, I'm going to earn 10,000. Okay, I can give him 5,000 or 5% back. That's really what the comp is. They're trying to figure out, okay, this player is worth this much.
It's like a rebate. It's a rebate.
We can rebate this player so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this with me, and I know Alice said she was with MGM, and I have had multiple offers. Believe it or not, a low baller like me, a very low baller, I would think, with playing at a few places at Cherokee, which is a Caesars property kind of thing. I've been able to get air offers to where they've flown me down to Biloxi. I get offers for Atlantic City. I get offers here, there. And now I've even gotten offers from Reno, although I haven't played at a Caesars property, but I still get them from time to time. But yeah, my thing is, I think it goes back to, for me, a low ball, it goes back to how you tip and how you interact with the people. And I think your personality goes a long way. And if you are somewhat generous, quote unquote, take care of the crew, then they are apt to rate you higher. I believe the first time I got all those offers was when I was down at Cherokee. I was playing at the table. I was the only guy tipping. I went 5-5-5 on the ATS for me, 1-1-1 with the dealers. We all got paid, quote unquote, when I rolled the ATS. And the guy came over there, and the box person and the supervisor, he was like, what's going on with this rate? He said, he's the only one that's been token the whole night. He's good, and da-da-da-da-da.
Good people. Yeah.
He's good people, and that's when I started getting the offers. So
and that comes to the discretionary part.
That's right.
They can give you a little juice to go, oh, well, sure, his average play is $88,
Mm-hmm.
But, we can bump them up to 110 or whatever it is, so they can, because there's some discretion in there, and they could probably ding you too if you're a jerk at the table.
Yeah, they probably would.
Because it's the magic behind the curtain that they can kind of do whatever they want. It's not like a slot machine where it's digitized and the calculations are there, and you can see your points click up every time you run $5 through and that sort of thing. So, Shooter Craps do you guys have land-based player cards? And now you've experienced some very decent airfare and some pretty good comps. And for me, the land-based, I have not.
But you've lived in towns with casinos for the most part, the last couple, 3 places you live, where I'm an out-of-towner.
And that plays a difference. I've certainly heard so much feedback from people that there's a couple things that play into comps. One is if you're an out-of-towner, they treat you a little different than an in-town person. So you'll get a little extra boost or comps or whatever to try and get you back in town, right? And a lot of times you may notice if you go to a casino for the very first time, let's say the Palms. You go to the Palms and play for the first time. I haven't seen anything yet, but there's a good chance that you'll get, now maybe not me because now I'm local and I have a local address, but you will probably get offers to Palms that are pretty good because they want you to come back a second time.
That's right.
So they're trying to gauge you as a player. So first-time players usually get a little extra comp, a little extra boost, and see how you do. Now, if the next trip you go and you gamble $20, your offers may dry up very quick, or sometimes they'll give you a third attempt. But usually you get a little extra squeeze on your first visit, and then they just want to see if you come back, and if you do come back, okay, what kind of player do we have on our hands? Are they going to be good for us as a customer or not? So,
okay,
that's kind of how all that works.
Yeah. All right. So, anything else we want to talk about on the cruising there? I know we met. I'll tell you this: there was a number of new players. I think all of us were very amicable toward everybody. I think
you were over there trying to sell me and Brian's channel.
No, I would just point out.
It was funny. Yeah, I know. It was nice, but it was funny. Like every person would be asking questions. You explain the game a little bit, and you go like, "Those two guys there have channels. You should check it out." It's just funny.
Yeah, no.
As a guy who like never says anything about my channel, it was fun to kind of hear you.
I'm just being honest on that, and it's true for a lot of people. And did you have anybody recognize you?
I mean, I guess.
I mean, hell, you've been in Vegas like 2 weeks, and the guy at the pizza place we went to recognized you. The guy who took the order.
Yeah.
So I figured everybody's recognized you.
Yeah. So Jim has seen a couple people approach me.
Yeah. He said, "You look like
you look like that one guy." I said, "I get that
Do
a
you
lot."
have a YouTube channel? Yeah. That was funny. But no, I think, a lot of new players. You were very nice with them. We actually there was a crew member, I think, one of the dancers or somebody was up there on their night off. I can't remember. But I think
the
you took a lot of the showgirls there from the Showgirl show. And I think she was a singer, not a dancer.
Yeah, she was a singer.
A singer.
I guess they have sing and dance, but yeah, there was a young girl. I think her dad was trying to show her, hey, there's some games and there's a and you have that a lot on cruises. It was fun. And then obviously here in our comments we had Alice, who was there kind of learning the game and stuff.
Oh yeah, and she was having a good time. And her husband's a real nice guy. But yeah, I'm just a friendly guy at the table. I'm not one of the jerks or anything there. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I just wanted to say there's a lot of new people on the ship. And the dealer quality, depending on which ship you're on. And we noticed that a little bit because the first time we were playing,
we certainly overwhelmed
one side of the table.
Dealers.
Yeah,
because we were all playing on one side, and not that any of our strategies are hard or anything.
No,
but
it's when you have
specific.
6 people, 7 people, and you're
a
lot going on.
And a guy who comes from blackjack is not used to. The bets and I mean, there was one guy, poor guy, they couldn't wait to get him.
They threw him to the wolves. They threw him to the wolves. I said, and in fact, I remember one of the box man saying, "Show me what you can do."
Yeah,
and apparently it was overpaid me twice on on the don't.
Yeah,
and I looked over to Jeremy.
Times
we
would have to elbow each other and go,
we
got a little extra pay there, or we got some our bets are up there.
Jeremy said, your favorite quote, my favorite quote that you gave that night was, at some point you got to decide if you're going to have a conscience or not. And
exactly.
And then the next time they changed the box guys, and the other guy say, hey, what you doing? That's a lay bet. That's not paying me double for it. So
right. I think you were getting paid 1-to-1 for your lay bet.
1-to-1 instead of half to half. Yeah. Which was nice.
So at some point you're like, I'm getting an extra $50 every time. I wonder if I should well, I think that you were playing at the $50 level, so an extra $25 every time. But that's part of the game, I don't know.
Yeah, and sometimes they between the dealers they mispay you sometimes, and then sometimes, like I had one, there was a couple 3 new guys who were there and they were playing, and one guy didn't put his come bet or his pass line bet down, and he came in and he was like, "Oh, come on,
Tim hopping in."
Oh yeah, hey Tim
as well.
Yeah. It was great meeting Tim. It was wonderful having dinner with everybody every night.
Sorry, with mispayments, and Brian was like, how about we make that a bet for the dealers?
Yeah.
So he was kind of like in between. He wasn't keeping the bet, and he wasn't giving it back to him, but he's like, if you're going to make a mistake, I guess 44 inside for the dealers.
God. There it is right there, 44 inside for the dealer. And let me say this about Brian.
What a generous tip for Brian.
Brian was the most... like at a lot of land-based casinos, what Brian was doing, he would almost place the numbers in the box for the box man. He might have gotten in trouble on a land-based casino because a couple of times those chips are touching the edge.
Yeah, because he was
making it like a self-service bet.
This bet is here. It's like talking to a kindergartner. This bet is here. Should be 42.
Right.
This bet right here should be 30. And then
take this down, this down, this down. Give me 50.
Whatever. Because there were couple dealers that just couldn't.
We're struggling. They were struggling. Well, they were 6-7 players.
So.
Yeah, they were 6-7 players though, and they were.
I mean, yeah, but they couldn't have handled one. I don't think.
Okay.
Regress me down to this or whatever. They went on tilt. There was one dealer. He would just freeze up. He'd be like,
yeah,
and would just freeze, and then the boxman would be like, okay, take that, give it to me, count out, whatever,
or put it all down, take it all down. And he said, take all his bets down, keep 44,
hey, we got a caller,
and give him back the rest. Oh, go ahead.
Hello, you're on the air with the Color Up Podcast. What's up?
What's up? I would like to know, you guys were talking about tipping it during the segment there, and my question is, I play the DC.
Yeah.
And usually I won't even think about having a tip or going that way with it unless I'm having a good night and I'm ahead, and then I'm willing to tip as much as I can right to the end, where I'll pay more at the end of it when I color up than I have ever paid during the night.
Yeah.
Because at the end, most people are at the end, a $200 or $300 tip on a $1,200 win playing the back line is a good night, I feel, for a tip to them. And
that's a great tip.
I was wondering what your guys' idea was on.
Well, it could go either way. So certainly tipping, let's get it out of the way, tipping is an optional thing. So if you're, right. I've had many dealers have said to me, listen, if you're getting hammered and you're down whatever, 300, 500, if you have a big enough buy, $1,000, they're not expecting tips from you, right? But if you're having a good time and winning or waiting until you're winning, I think that's perfectly fine. Now, are you getting rated the whole time for your average? You might be missing out a little bit on that. Let's say for the first 2 hours, they're rating you at X amount because, okay, this guy doesn't tip or whatever. And then the last hour, you're up big, and then you're tipping well, and then, you throw in a 200 tip, which is awesome. Sure, at the end, they can go, okay, let's adjust it. But, depending on their computer system, can they adjust it for the previous 3 hours? I don't know. They can certainly give you a little boost at the end. But I don't know if you're missing out on a little bit of your average from the first couple hours. I don't know. But certainly, probably at the end, with you being so generous, they probably are, oh, wow, let's make a little adjustment because this guy has been very generous here at the end. So I know a lot of people kind of say, hey, maybe tip at the beginning or along the way. And I think that's why, because they certainly say it's kind of hourly or average base. So I don't know. I mean, how have your comps or points been okay for you? Or what
as much as I really play, things have been fine. I just seem to have a better night if people understand the guy, especially is in my corner right there. I'm playing in the back corner.
Yeah,
and
right.
He understands where I'm at with it. He'll catch on real quick, and I just sit there and play the game, and he smiles. And then after I'm, really $500 ahead, that's when I'll start tipping. And if he's still the crew guy that's there, I feel really good. But if they change a guy on me, and I get a different crew guy in that corner, I feel left out, where I've just cheated this guy out of a nice coming tip when I've had such a good run, and he gets changed out right at the end of it,
Well, I mean, there are some. It's pretty rare that some dealers get to keep their own tips, but
so it's a pool.
It's a pool of well, some of them are a pool for the table.
Specific
tables.
Yeah,
specific table, because they all rotate. Mostly they rotate 20 minutes. So they'll do 20 minutes of stick,
right, exactly.
20 minutes of base 1, 20 minutes of base 2, and then they'll get a 20-minute break, and then they'll come back and keep rotating. So really there's 4 dealers that rotate every 20 minutes. And then at the end of the night, those guys get to, or their shift, they get to some casinos, they get to pull that money. Okay, there's $1,000. We divide it up between us 4 dealers or whatever. And then some, unfortunately, they have to divide with the whole casino table game floor. True. So that blackjack player who's a jerk, who hasn't been dealing to anybody because no one wants to play with him, he's getting the same percentage of that dice dealer who's been working his tail off for you. So you can always ask hey, do you guys pull your tips with the whole crew or all the table games or whatever? But it kind of depends on the casino and where you're at, how your tip goes to them.
Start asking myself.
Yeah, because it does make a difference. It makes a difference
It
because,
does, yeah.
like at Ellis Island, for example, I know that they keep their own tips. So the money's not going to the roulette people. It's not going to the blackjack people. It's going to the dice dealers for that session. So I tend to be a little more generous with them because they're providing good service.
Very good,
Hey,
yeah.
I want the money to go directly to them, not to that blackjack dealer over there who's surly, right? So, ask.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay to ask and find out if your tip is actually going to those people working for you.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you guys keep up the good work. I've enjoyed your show, and I love these podcasts that I can call in because I'm a computer illiterate guy, and the only one I look at is the one my wife gives me. And I tried to text on tonight. We both looked at each other and go, I don't know how to do it. But then the phone number shows up, and I'm now
there
I
we
can
go.
talk to him.
Well, I appreciate
Take
the call
care,
and
guys.
great
Have a
question.
nice evening,
Thank
and
you. Have a great
fire
night.
up every time, guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Hey, we're
Good night.
trying.
Yeah,
That was nice. That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, if anybody else wants to call in, our number is 678-723-1112. So,
I got a question for you since you're a come bet expert.
yes. Why place a come bet instead of just betting on the numbers? Hello.
That is the age-old question.
That's the age-old
I've done many a video on it, but
Yep.
as a come better, why do you do
Why
it?
wouldn't I want to make a bet that I have a 2-to-1 advantage on the first time, right?
Mhm.
And then if I place the odds, if I choose to do so, I get paid fairly. And I know you're going to say you got to have 2 hits before you collect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, all these pressers, all these place bettors, they're all pressers, and they want to collect and all that. But I don't feel like I'm the best defender of that. And the other thing is it protects me on the short mid-range rolls. It protects me on the short rolls.
I guess.
It does because, I mean, if you're trying to get 2 hits, you get a 3, a 4, a 12, and you're inside, and then you get a 7 out, all your place bets get, come down. But
A come better does get a little rebate. Of course, he doesn't want to see the 7.
I don't want it. Yeah, I don't
but
want to see the 7.
You'd rather the numbers repeat, but it's
But
better
if I get
than
a
losing
yo
all your
every
money.
once in a while, or a yo every once in a while, that kind of thing. So
the reason is because of that very first roll. No
it's
other
a built-in
bet.
hedge. Yeah.
No other bet do you get. Do you have that advantage where you're the big, huge 2-to-1 favorite? And the game's decided 33% of the time right then and there on that one.
And we had one guy on the cruise, I think, rolled 5 or 6 7s in a row.
Yeah.
It was just crazy.
So, 7's the most likely number. That 7's working for you for that roll. That's why you come bet. And then the math works out once you add some odds. Most people, well, not most, but a lot of mathematicians and books and stuff, you want to, like blackjack, right? You want to get your house edge as low as possible. And in their case, they actually try to get an advantage or
player,
a positive house edge as they're counting cards. Not that that's possible too much anymore. But so you want to lower the house edge as much as possible to make it a fair game. Yes, it's still chance. You still got to have the numbers rolling in your favor, but you're not fighting chance and the math of the game. You're lowering what the casino is going to keep as low as possible. So that's why you'd be a come better.
Yeah, and I like it's a simple way to play. I don't have to think. Occasionally, if you're playing on a craps table, you can get 9 points up. I'm joking around a little bit, but if I wanted to cover 9 numbers, you got to spread out. You need a lot of hits to get all those back. So,
Jim, we have another call on the. I guess we got to call it like the color up line.
Okay,
caller, you're on the air. Who do we have with us?
Holy Roller here.
Oh, okay.
Brian!
It's Brian himself. Mr.
Yeah, hey,
Mr.
thanks for all
Craps and Cruising.
the chatting. Yeah, no, the chatter. But, hey, you got to promote the Color Up Club. Come on, that's where it begins. So get over to colorup.club and sign up. Become a red member, a green member, and be on some cruises with us.
Yeah, that's true.
But, hey, I wanted to talk about the fact that you guys got Running with the Bulls in full action. Come on.
Oh, we did. We didn't even talk about that. That was incredible. Tell them what Running with the Bulls is, Brian.
Oh, I recently put out a video. I think if you look
you did?
in the last one, of course you go to Brian's channel. He's covered it many times, but I put out a video. If you're, a follower of mine, Running with the Bulls. I think in the thumbnails, me riding a bull or something like that.
Yeah.
But I saw it in action.
And it was crazy. It was absolutely insane.
Yes.
So you hit a horn number.
Briefly run it down for us, Brian.
Well, so I tried something different this time. I used to press one number. So basically what it is when you ever hear the term see a horn, bet a horn, or see a horn, bet a field?
Yeah, well, it's kind of based off. Yeah. It's a trigger to start the betting.
Once I see a horn bet, then I'll bet the same amount on the horn high yo and in the field. So $10 horn high yo, $10 field. Well, I used to bump it up one. So if it hit, I would bump it up 1 unit. And if it hit again, I bumped it up 1 unit again. Well, I tried something different this time. And when I hit it, I just went straight to a $25 horn high yo and a $5 ace deuce and $5 horn or a $2 horn for the dealers.
So you weren't collecting any, right? You were doing essentially full press, right?
Yeah. And when it hit again, it paid $130.
Yep.
And I would say, press it, make it look like a $50 horn high yo, $10 ace deuce, and just give me $100.
Yep.
So that $10 bet, I ended up with $100.
You'd pull back $100, and you had a $50 and multiple times.
Yeah, and then it hit again.
You hit that for the third time. Multiple times, Brian be like, yes,
genius.
Yeah. Genius. So we saw. I mean, I don't know how much or if you lost on it, because there's multiple times that it rolled 3 times in a row, and you took a big chunk of change off the table. And paid the dealers really well because you had a nice $10 bet for them. So it was very cool to see in action. Another thing we didn't mention, Dan was using when he would get into profit, he would start pressing his hard way bets up. And the amount of times that he hit for a $50 horn, did he ever get to a $100 horn?
I don't know if he did. If he did, I don't know if it hit. Maybe he's still listening. He can.
Yeah, I don't know. But those $50 bets, when they're paying the $350 and the $450 on
Tim was on there. Yeah, Tim was on there, too. And I was like, "What am I doing?" And here was the salt in the room when the one time the 10 sniped me down and it was a hard 10. Those guys are losing their mind.
Yeah, those guys are cheering. They're like 450 coming my way.
And I'm just licking my wounds.
Yeah, it's a great time. It's a great time, whether we're on a cruise together or whether we just get together at DiceCon or, local meetups with the Color Up Club. So anyway, I just wanted to call in and say thanks, guys. It was fun, and I hope to see you guys cruising and rolling on a craps table soon.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Right back at you, Brian. Thank you again.
Yeah, we had a couple calls while Brian was on the air, so there's I don't have any producer. No one's taking calls. So if you called and you got hung up on or got a busy tone, the line is now clear if you want to call in. Anyway, Tim was interesting because he would bet on the hard ways a lot, and his bankroll fluctuated a lot because a lot of times he'd be hitting for $10, $25 hard ways and horns and stuff, and a lot of big money coming in, and then would go out. He seemed to be the most volatile of all the bankrolls, but
seesaw. But when it was good times, it was the best of the times. Yeah, it wasn't the worst of the times.
Dan reached 100 hard ways twice, and he never hit. Okay. But yeah, 5 or 6 times he hit that.
He was crushing
$50 hardway bet.
And by the way, he's on the ship right now.
Yeah.
And he's able to chime in because he paid for the internet plan with his winnings from the previous
there you
cruise.
go, exactly. Although the internet plan didn't work out too well for you, right?
No, it kept going in and out, and I had to go to the customer service a couple of times, but it finally figured out what was going on, but I couldn't upload stuff, and then I don't know. It was just a little frustrating for me. So.
Yeah, I don't get the internet because I'm on a cruise. I don't want to hear no emails, no nothing, no it's just time to get away for once.
I figure I had to with you two guys being the super YouTube stars.
Yeah, but when
Ryan was working, but you weren't.
Brian
you were on
certainly
vacation.
was working, but because that's part of his job, right? Is all about cruising.
Yeah, cruising.
So for me though, when I'm on a cruise, it's time to shut down. So
yes, sir.
No answering of YouTube comments. Do we have any more questions here? Oh, we got another call. So let me see who's calling in here to the Color Up podcast line. You're on the air.
Hey,
what's up? Who do we have with us?
Hey, I'm Colin, I just want to. So last night I went out and I played. I tried your, I think, Park Avenue strategy is a 220 inside, and then it kind of pressed to go out to the numbers and then regress down.
Okay.
And I was playing at the table by myself, and I TSO 4 times in a row, and it made me never want to play at a table by myself. Curious if you have any thoughts about playing at the table and you're the only roller.
I'm kind of with you. The cruise prior, I did the same situation. It was night one. I was betting, probably at least $100 on the table every time. And I'm like speed rolling because you're by yourself, and you may lose the same amount of money, but when you're by yourself and knocking yourself out, and it feels like the game is going so fast that the swings are going so fast, like before you know it, you're down whatever, $400 or $500, and you just feel sick to your stomach because it's like, I'm rolling. I've only been here 10 minutes. I'm down $500. This sucks. And for me, I got rated 60 points or something. I'm like, but some people are like, oh, I like to play in the early mornings by myself. I'm a dice controller, this or that. But for me, I'm like you. I'm like, I don't want to play by myself. I want the table to be full. I want the game to be slowed down. I just want to have a good time. And if I'm in a losing session, maybe, but it's spread out over hours of time, not 10 minutes by myself. So I think that's what amplifies it when you're by yourself is how quickly the time goes by. So
there's more.
You probably would be complaining.
Hour.
Yeah, if you colored up for $1,000, you'd be like, oh, okay, play by myself is pretty good. But when it goes bad quick, and you've got no one else to blame but yourself.
And there is a psychological thing to it because you do blame yourself. Yeah. When somebody else sevens out, or if you're say you are throwing the dice and there's somebody just put their hands out or they late bet, you can get to that bad mojo stuff. Them.
Yeah, come on, get your hands on the table. But
every time,
whenever you're the only one at the table, it could go brutally bad.
Yeah,
just the
I
time
played not so much on the cruise, but I played by myself. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is the first time I'd ever been the only one playing at the table, and I thought that would be so much better because
a positive thing,
more fast paced,
right?
Then you feel like it would come in a lot quicker, but it definitely goes out a lot quicker in the same tone.
Yeah, it's just it amplifies everything, and
it's not as fun. The social aspect of the game is not as fun as far as the banter, right?
Yeah. But I think it's just the amplification, the time amplification. So if you would have won, you would have been, it worked out. But and when you lose so fast, and it's only yourself to blame, it certainly does stink.
Great. All right. Well, hey, thanks for putting out your videos, by the way. Perhaps it's a game I'm just now getting into the last few months, and it's been fun.
Until your last session, right?
Doing the different strategies. Until I put one into play and it doesn't go well, then I get to blame you.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you for the call, and keep the chin up. Get them next time.
Yep.
All right. Thanks.
Podcast.
See. We have another caller here. Well, I think we just missed him.
Call back.
Yeah, call back. There we go. And I know some are going to voicemail. I know some people are texting, so everyone's excited to talk. So, caller, you're on the air. Who do we have with us? You finally got through.
Hello.
Yeah, hey, hello.
Hey, Jeremy, Jim, it's Tim Acosta.
Hey, Tim.
Oh, hey, Tim.
Tim was one of the players with us who also got to earn his certificate.
That's right.
Yep, I hit the 3,000 point on that last night.
Very nice, very nice.
What's funny is I was actually 31 points shy the last night. And walked over to the host, I guess the number 2, because the female host wasn't there. I walked over to the host, and I spoke with him, and I said, "Hey, listen, can you bump it up a little bit to 3,000?"
Yeah.
He says, "I'm going to do it, but go play a video game or something." So MJ took me over to Jacks Are Better, and I actually ended up winning $25 on there, and I got my points. But
there you go.
I got to tell you, since I've been back home, I've been having these nightmares about that Heidi machine.
Oh, yeah. There was there was a slot machine just across from over by the bar, and Heidi, like this. Is it?
It's a German fest house thing.
German fest. Yeah,
fest
like
house
it's a
thing.
game that shows beer, and it has this like theme song every time the bonus round would come around. Da, 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 da. We called it the Heidi game, and I don't know if we decided if it was good or bad for the rolls, but man, it would take over the whole casino, and we'd all hear the song, this German kind of.
And it was always that same woman singing along with it, as well when it hit.
Oh yeah,
good old Heidi.
Had a absolutely fantastic time hanging out with you guys and the rest of the Color Up and Holy Roller crew. It's so much easier going on a cruise where you're meeting up with other group members, and you can get together and play. It just makes it such a great environment.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Just want to
thank you. And guys like Tim, if a couple of times I was racking my chips and kept dropping them down, or if one of us had to go to the bathroom or whatever, I felt totally comfortable leaving my chips there and whatever. But yeah, it's a big difference when you're just playing with strangers and you're looking over your shoulder and you got your hands on your chips and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Thanks
for the
good.
call, Tim.
All right, let's see. Did you have another one bopping in?
Yeah, someone called during his, so just call right back.
Okay.
Don't leave me a voicemail because let's see.
Is it true that in Las Vegas they are now making people not set dices before they throw? I saw it on one of the YouTube videos.
Oh, so this gentleman called in and was asking about dice setting.
Yes.
It varies from casino to casino. There are some there's some like border towns in Vegas and stuff like that.
Here we go. Call.
Yeah, I got another call here. I'm going to finish my thought here, but you are on the air, so just hang tight with me. But yeah, there's a couple casinos that they'll have like signs that say no dice setting. Those have been around for a long time, and usually it's time related because Brian, I think, is making a video about how to categorize these people, but some people have these rituals that just take forever to throw the dice. And so a couple casinos will have little signs, no dice setting, or they tell you no dice setting. And that's because you're taking so daggone long. But almost all of them, and I actually had someone tell me on Facebook this week, he was checking out a casino that has been telling everyone, no dice setting, no dice setting. But he goes, hey, I took my numbers. I know how to set the dice. If you're looking for the 6, it's on the opposite side of the 1, right? Set it real quick and throw it. No casino has any problems with you. So it's really about timing, not so much about controlling the dice. But that's that voicemail. So you're on the air. Who do we have with us?
Hey, Jeremy, this is Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Had a great time at DiceCon.
Awesome.
I thought it interesting. I used to work at the Cosmopolitan at security.
Okay.
On the graveyard shift, where they gathered up all the tokes from all the tables, spread them out, and counted them out every night. That was an amazing amount of money. I couldn't believe it. That was spread among all the table players.
Okay.
For the day. But I was sitting at the short table there at the Four Queens, and the one dealer they have at that table, he had his own tip box. He put the money in, he took it out, and took it with him to the next table he went to.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of different ways they do that.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that.
Yeah, I've seen that before. So, they'll just take their little box with them and move from table to table. So those are probably dealers that get to take their own. But yeah, so Cosmo is kind of like the top of the pyramid. You start at, they call them break-in casinos and work their way up. So yeah, you probably saw a good chunk of change at the Cosmo because those are kind of like, if you're a dealer, that's where you want to be. That's kind of the, one of the premier spots because
they were
Yeah, go ahead, Doug. Sorry.
Yeah, they were making close to $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
The dealers.
Yeah, the dealers, yep.
And we actually had a guy call
wage plus tips.
Yep. And a lot of people don't believe me when I say that, but most places are minimum wage. So, I know minimum wage is not $3 when I started as a teenager, but it is, I think it's like, I don't know, $12. You're not going to be you're not going to support a household on $12, but you work your way up to the Cosmo and now you're making $120,000, $150,000 as a top dealer. So yeah. Very cool.
And Nevada does not have a two-tiered minimum wage, where servers who get tips get paid less to begin with. That is a flat minimum wage.
Right. Well, yeah, thanks for the insider scoop.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, but I had a great time at DiceCon. Looking forward to next year.
Awesome, Doug.
Awesome.
Can't wait to see you there. All right, bye-bye.
Yep.
All right, let's see this other podcast here.
Hey, Jeremy, I just called a little while ago. If you can answer the
okay,
question.
I think I've answered my question if he stuck in there long enough with him. But yeah, that was him calling back about the dice setting rules.
Okay. And overall, I'm fine with anybody dice setting, doing whatever they want to.
Harlan said he wouldn't play at the Cosmo. He didn't fill us in at why, but some people would say, yeah, there's a lot of like pretentious people, or there's people who don't know the game and they're just dressed up fancy, or I don't know. Do we have the dates for DiceCon next year? Not yet. I have a poll up in my DiceCon channel in my club community trying to figure out which date it's going to be.
And again, you can become a club member and try it out for, a month or two and see if you like the community and everything for as low as $5. And you can become a member and join us next year.
I'm thinking with the new law. That's true. The new law passed. There is a no tax on tips. I don't know when it goes into effect. And there is a cap on it. I think it's like the first $25,000 of tips is no. Don't quote me on this, but you'd have to look into it. Is no tax, but that's a nice little break for those, the middle class trying to work hard in service industries where they rely on tips. That's a nice little break for them. So it'll be curious to see how that works, or draws in workers, or whatever. But Harlan kind of followed up and said he doesn't like playing on Las Vegas Boulevard. Yeah, I'm not. I'm more of I know at first you were like a little gun shy about going down to, maybe that's a pun, but going downtown to Fremont Street. But I prefer kind of off strip and Fremont Street, and mostly because of table limits. Like, on the weekend or holidays, and they're going to tell you, hey, it's $50 to $100 per bet to play the craps tables on the strip. No thanks. I'll still.
Although when I did go walking with Bonnie Boo on the casino floors, and I saw those Saturday night. Now, granted, there was I think it was a Shakira concert. Okay. On I think it's just one Shakira, right? She was at Shakira. She was at the big Allegiant Stadium, and so I don't know if it was just because she had such a big draw. But when I saw those $15 and $10 tables, I would definitely. I really like the big resorts, I must admit. But I felt like the Grand downtown, not the Grand, Gold Nugget downtown was very nice, and the rooms were, okay, even at the ugly tower that I stayed at with no refrigerator.
Circa's really nice. You gotta be able to handle the loud music and the dancing girls, but that's a nice casino too, I think.
Yeah, but I think that's a nice one down there. But I haven't stayed there yet. Yeah, I've stayed at the D. I've stayed at Golden Nugget.
They're fine. They're fine. I think.
Yeah, they're fine. But I do like the big ultra giant casinos and all too. But go ahead.
Usually they have better filtration systems, so the smoke is not as bad. Harrison asked, you guys ever play at the mini tub table at the Strat? I haven't played it at the Strat. There's a couple places downtown on Fremont Street. I haven't been to the Strat in a while, a couple of years. So I was unaware that they currently have a mini tub there, but I've seen them around town for sure.
Yeah. This was a good one over here. I know I don't know. But Brian was talking about earlier about question, did Jeremy almost become a believer? Here it is. Did Jeremy almost become a believer in turning off your bets on a dealer rotation? How do you respond to that?
Yes and no. So So I found out Brian has a lot more superstitions than I thought.
No, to his credit, he said he was a little stitious, not
a little stitious, but I think he's more superstitious than little stitious.
Oh.
There seems to be a lot more situations that cause, there's a stick change.
Right.
There's commotion. Mm-hmm. There's buying at the table. Yep. Oddly enough, dice off the table doesn't affect his bets. But there's a couple triggers. Well, he'll stop, and he calls it the 2-roll resolution. So within 2 rolls, it'll either be the point or a 7 out. And the amount of times, confirmation bias or not, he would confirm with me.
He called
that,
it,
hey,
yeah.
Within 2 rolls, I told you. And man, it's at one point I was like kicking myself. You were too.
Yeah.
We're like, why didn't we just? These other 4 guys said, turn my bets off. It's just normal.
And I was of the opinion to say, like, hey, look, I'm going to be the guy who's collecting when these guys are all off.
Yes.
And I got sniped.
And a couple times I did collect, and I said, Brian, see, I had my bets working, and it worked out just fine. But I didn't keep really good track of it, but certainly Brian reminded me a lot that it certainly did happen quite a bit, more than probability, very well possibly, that it shouldn't have. But the thing is, if something happens and you wait 2 rolls, the odds of a 7 showing is every 6 rolls.
Right.
So yeah, like 1 in 3 now the odds are essentially, if you're waiting something should happen in 2 rolls because it's already been 10 rolls into it, and now what are the odds? It's 33% chance, I guess, maybe mathematically, if 2 rolls are happening out of the 6, that the 7's going to show. So
it's coming. It's coming. It's due.
I don't know. It's a funny thing. Is it a real thing?
It's irritating. It's irritating with the stick change. It's irritating with this. It's irritating with the drama.
The stick change
is going to happen.
Is going to happen because they work on rotation. They have to take breaks. They got to keep moving. But he would hop the point and hit it a ton. Yeah. So he would.
What about the
5,
fill?
He would hop the 5 or whatever.
The fill comes out.
He would turn off his bets and hop a certain number, and then he would win it. And it'd be like, my gosh, he did it again. Or he'd turn off his bets and roll a 7 and be like, my gosh, he did it again. So, yeah, I don't understand the stick change thing. I certainly do understand buying in the middle of the game or like an argument, because that's like, I believe in like negativity and positivity, and I hate that stuff, right? Yeah. And the commotion at the table, so I get that. But the regular rotation, I don't understand so much. But, I mean, whatever works, whatever's fun, and it's part of the eccentricity of the game. I don't know. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say?
Eccentricity.
Like the people being eccentric or having superstitions or...
I don't know if that's the word you're looking for there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a grasp on the English language.
Yeah, it's okay, but you're doing a really good job.
But
answer
anyway,
Harlan's question.
To Harlan's question is,
yeah,
no, makes 0 difference. The math does not change. Every roll is independent. Now, it does work in your favor because anytime your bets are not working,
you can't lose.
Your bets are not subject to the house edge. So you're buying more time at the table, I guess, technically. Your bets are safe. You're not subject to the house edge. So in that sense, hey, why not every other roll go off, off on your bet? So, but yeah, we're there to gamble. When you choose to gamble, whatever you want, but the math doesn't change. But hey, man, if you feel like it's working for you, don't be a dummy like me. Keep noticing it happening and just like, I'm working my bets. I don't care. Yeah. And sure enough, that 7 comes. And everyone else is like, oh, my bets are safe. And Jeremy's like, the dealers asked me, would you like to go back up on your 110 inside? I'm like, no. I lost it again.
No. Oh, what about this one? This is a good one here. We were talking about dealers working earlier. Would you modify the strategies if the dealers were struggling and it slowed down the game? Would you change your strat?
That is a good question. I have certainly in the past kind of adjusted my strategy some, but that stinks, right? You have in mind of how you want to play. Why should you adjust because they can't service you? But that being said, sometimes it is so brutal. I don't know. But other times I push through. I'm like, the dealer has to learn. as long as the boxman is on doing their job and overseeing the dealer, making sure that it's correct, and I know what's correct, I know my payouts, I know my bets, then I'm okay with him struggling, taking his time, and getting to the final answer. That's okay because they got to learn too. But sometimes that's where you're playing, right? On a cruise, you don't have options, but if you're at a place like the Downtown Grand or the what's that, Jerry's Nugget, or these break-in, you got brand new dealers out of school. Don't expect to get the same dealer service that you're going to get at the Cosmo and Bellagio, where these guys have been dealing for 25 years.
That's
right.
The way I look at it on the cruise ship, though, is that's one less roll per hour, or it's lowering down the rolls per hour, and my bankroll will last longer in theory. Although it was frustrating to see, I'm not going to mention any names of the couple of dealers who were having problems.
It doesn't help with comps, though. That's the only thing, is because they run a counter. It's not by average. It kind of breaks down to about so many rolls per average, but they do have a counter and they count every roll. So if it's going slow, some people are like, I'm playing slow and I'm still earning an average of 150 points. Not really, because
when
the game's slow, the rolls are slow, they're counting, your time is slowed down. So that's not a way to cheat the system, unfortunately.
But great question, Smashing Ovi.
Yeah.
That was good. All right. Anybody else want to call on in? We do have our line at 678.
How many times did Tim randomly throw in a 5? Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. I was going to get the number out if anybody else wanted to jump in. 678-723-1112. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to say what Tim does or did for a living, but he's very observant.
Yes.
And his career path, and he works off of hunches and feelings, and
intuition.
He would be like, $5 midnight, 12 rolls, $150 to the man. It's like, he did it multiple times. It was fun to watch, but he would get that hunch. He'd had that certain feeling. So
podcast.
Hey, we got a caller here. Caller, well, there we go. Caller, you're on the air with the Color Up Podcast. What's up?
Hi, Jeremy.
Who do we have with us?
The crowd pleaser.
Hey.
Oh, hey.
Hey, guys. I wanted to say that I met your son at the GSR. Very nice young man.
Ah, okay. You finally ran across him. Was he dealing or supervising?
But that's not the reason dealing.
Okay.
But he didn't deal at the table when this gentleman rolled for over an hour and a half.
Whoa.
And was doing put bets on 5, 6, 8. And even though I over quadrupled my roll, he cashed out for over $52,000.
Oh, my gosh.
And dealers had over $2,500 in tips.
Yeah, that sounds like
that's
a nice
good
roll.
Night.
Yeah, you can put bet there, and it kind of makes sense because the GSR, you're allowed 10 times odds, right?
Exactly. And I know we had this conversation a few weeks ago about put bets, and when the dealer didn't know what he was trying to do.
Did he already have place bets at Table Max, and then was adding put bets, or he was just going up on put bets?
He was just doing put bets, and he was, I don't know the exact number, maybe a couple hundred as a flat bet with max odds. And then as the rolls were hitting, he would increase the flat bet and the odds. And it was just amazing. We cleared out all the chips.
That's okay. That's amazing.
And you could see all the dust and crumbs and everything back there.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been awesome. Yeah. So my son was dealing a different game at the time, or?
I think I got there right at 10 o'clock, and he may have been out. So
oh, okay.
It was on Saturday, yesterday.
Gotcha.
Anyway, again, as usual, although you need some work on the thumbnail for your YouTube.
Hey, you are the expert. You are the expert. And thank you very much for those you don't know, he's a great club member, and he participates greatly on Discord, and he is an expert. And which one do you use? Do you use Gronk or ChatGPT to make these great thumbnails?
I use a plugin on chat called SORA.
SOR.
You buy the plan so I can generate more images.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, if you're in our Discord community, he puts out a lot of
hilarious stuff
and very timely. He gets it up so quick. It's like, how does he do that?
It's incredible.
All right. Well, I'm glad you got to finally meet my son, and that sounds like an amazing role. That would have been cool to see. So,
absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate the call.
All right, bye.
Good night. Sounds like my phone was clicking. You know what that means. I have to
you gotta redo the phone thing on there.
Yeah, but we've been in it for a while, so I think we can go ahead. Let's see, disconnect. Yeah, I heard a beeping, and shut this guy down. I don't really see any more further comments or anything.
Well, I haven't seen any new one, but here was one from 936, which wasn't that long ago, right? But where was it at? Good crapless strategy. Merv wants to know, do you recommend
the 9-point Molly?
Besides the 9-point Molly? I don't know. What do you think? It's the same game, like you said, if you're a place better.
Yeah.
Do you like and at that same table, that same crapless table, I saw a guy, big player, $500 across all the numbers. And at 2 and 12 hit a couple of times, and then he'd press it to 1,000. And that guy was just incredible. But I will say this: there was one guy who was just absolutely poor etiquette, irritating. He was talking to me about the way that guy was betting. He was in the spot that traditionally the don't pass player would play in if there was a don't pass, and I was probably stick right or maybe one off of that. And he came up, started talking to me, and he's really playing the wrong way. What are you talking about? He was killing it. And I just said, hey, man, we're all playing the same game. You play your way. He plays it his way. And then he kept talking to me, and I didn't want to hear it. And the guy said, hey, you're being very rude. He said, well, I'm talking to this guy. He said, well, I can hear you. And I thought he was, but you know what was so satisfying?
He was telling me, he was saying that because he was betting the outside
extreme numbers. Yeah, he's really not smart. Yeah,
yeah, you're not really smart. 6 and 8, and
because he knew what was coming up.
Right.
But the satisfying thing was the guy who was crushing it kept crushing it, and the guy who was playing the smart way, he bought in for like 500 or 1,000, and he was gone in 10 minutes playing the smart way.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That was a good thing on that. So
yeah, it's a bad bet if you lose, and it's a good bet if you win. Like you can't. Don't judge people how they find enjoyment playing this game, because you do not know what the next 30 minutes brings. So yeah, it could be a very fun game. But I would say, as far as a good strategy for it, I don't get many submissions, so I've only shown a couple strategies, but. Again, I know the 9-point Molly was working for you, but because it is a 5-something house edge, I still wouldn't be a comeback.
You wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't recommend it. And as far as betting on the outside numbers, I think go for it. I would say kind of maybe not to start with. Maybe get some profit. So any kind of strategy that, I like strategies where you're out, you've got your money back in a shortest amount possible. So you get your money back, you get a little profit. Yeah, spread out to all the numbers. Why not? Have fun with it and participate in those big payoffs. So I would say any strategy that kind of, utilize. Maybe don't start with going across all of the numbers, because again, those are not great bets out there.
Right.
But if you're making those bets with profit, I see nothing wrong with that, and it sounds like it's a fun way to play.
Yeah, so, and I'll tell you, I'm happy for the guys who. Do it that way.
Well, and Snake Eyes does it kind of the opposite. He starts on those big numbers, so it's money you're willing to lose. And if they hit, they pay really well.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
So now you have a bankroll to work with. So that's I mean, you could certainly approach it that way. I prefer to approach it from the inside out. Bet on the good numbers. Once you're in profit, then bet the out. But Snake Eyes is doing it different, betting on the crazy numbers. But when they hit, they pay good, and now you got money to play however you want. So
and you can gamble
again. Yeah, don't judge how anyone plays. Have fun and do however.
We're all playing. And we're all on the same side when we're on the crapless table.
Brian plays like Snake Eyes, I guess.
Yeah.
He's buying those outside numbers, and then he bets inside. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Whatever floats your boats, ladies and gentlemen.
And right back at you, Shep. Yeah, it was great meeting his wife. He came to his second DiceCon. We were at the table, and she's a entrepreneur, and they've got a great family, and wishing good things for Shep and all those guys over there. But yeah, Ken brought up an interesting point here. He says, what did he say? Also, when I think it's a smart play to let the game breathe when the puck's off, hope for the bad number. Yeah, not hurt. Hurt what? Exiting place bets, I guess. I
Existing,
see Existing. Okay, I got my phone in front of me.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in. I know the math says otherwise, but I'm a believer in when the puck's off, leave your bets off. Don't work your bets. Just because a long roll, 30-some roll, there's going to be some not always, but statistically, mathematically, there's going to be 7. So you want them to happen when that puck's off. So if you got to 30 rolls, guess what? There was some 7s, and they happened when the puck was off. So that's why I don't. Now, of course, you saw
on mine there was
bets because I had a lay bet going, so it's a little different situation there. But
with me, with those 9 come bets, I think that was 30 rolls or whatever. There was no.
Yeah, because
7.
your come bets are always working.
Yeah,
so you don't
they
want to come out
they would have come down.
Come bets, so
yeah,
it does happen, but that's a unicorn. Usually, long rolls involve 7s. They just. It's a long roll because they happen when the puck was off. So
absolutely,
that's the thing.
All right, you should be checking any more comments at the
I'm going
top.
to have to get to next year's DiceCon. Yes, you are. And maybe next week we might actually have a legit topic.
Yeah.
I know we bored at least one person, right? But hey, we've got to talk about it. We had a lot of people join us. We had a good time. I know it doesn't involve everybody, but we're still talking dice and craps and how we did.
Hey, yeah. And we just didn't necessarily talk about when they played, but we were talking about when we played. That kind of thing.
And we had a good time.
Had a great time. By the way, George, I forget. Every week I see George's comments. It was so good to see him and his wife at DiceCon, and she was actually on the other end of the table. But I didn't get a whole lot of time to chat with them. I talked with them at the opening session, but I'm hoping to get to play with them again. But it's so hard when you have so many people and we're all spread out all over the place to get with everybody you want to play with and all.
Tim learned something on the cruise, the buffalo bet. Yeah, I don't think I've ever made a video on it, but usually the East Coast and the West Coast are different. But here in the West, the buffalo bet is the hard ways and a 7.
Right.
Or any 7. So essentially
4 hard ways and a $5 7 on the come
so
out.
$25 covers those 5 bets. So you got $5 on, it could be any denomination, but let's say $5 on the hard ways. And then, so they're working. So if you hit it, great. They're going to pay $35 or $45. Awesome. If they don't hit and the 7 rolls, well, your any 7 bet pays $20. It replaces the hard way bet. So your hard ways are protected. So you have them working on the come out roll, and I think that worked several times for.
Yeah, I was.
Him and Brian were doing the buffalo.
Yeah, they did a really good job on that buffalo. So I enjoyed watching that. Anything else you want to jump in on?
No, I got some work to do tonight. Finishing up some videos for tomorrow's post and my Sports Grid TV post I got to get done tonight. So
got stuff to do.
Got stuff to do.
Well, all you DiceCon people who were there, and I know there's a bunch of you. We didn't get a chance to mention everybody, but it was great meeting you, great playing with you, Color Up people, Holy Roller people. We're all one big positive group of folks here. So whether you're a Brian fan or Jeremy fan or both fans like me, it's a tremendous thing. And like I said, join the community if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. But we do have an absolute blast.
Yeah, we don't. I don't talk about it a whole lot because I know it doesn't apply to the whole YouTube community. But we have to talk about it. It was a big event for us. It was
huge.
So if you are interested, visit my website, colorup.club. The information's all there if you're interested in becoming a club member, and then maybe join us for DiceCon next year. But that's what it's all about. It's just like any other club. Similar interests, bringing people together, and we have a lot of fun with it.
Absolutely. MJ, great meeting you as well. Tom, Merv, appreciate that.
Hawaiian Crap Shooters popped in. It's the all-day hard ways. They're not hopping them hard ways.
Yeah, it's
So
it's
just
all
replace it
day.
all the hard way. So, okay, everyone, you have a good night, and we'll plan on seeing you next week.
Yeah, I'm good next week.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything. So,
all right, Al. So hey, it's great. Thanks for sticking in for the show for the whole time. For you guys that did, I know we went rather long, but Jeremy's got work to do. Me, I don't have anything to do. I'm a teacher in the summertime. You don't even have to prepare
for school tomorrow. Yeah,
no, you can stay up late and do whatever. So,
all right. Good night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.